YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to the Off the Schneid 2020 NFL Preview Series, where I'll be going over all 32 NFL teams, breaking down their rosters, their schedule, giving you a record prediction, as well as helping out with some betting tips. If this is your first time at the channel, do me a massive favor, hit that like and subscribe button, turn on notifications, and check the description for links to social media for Off the Schneid. Follow us on there as well. I want to give a massive shout out to OurLads Scouting Services and OurLads.com for helping me to make these videos. I'm on their website almost daily, and if you're a serious football fan, guys, you need to have this website bookmarked, favorited, whatever it is. Helps me at draft time, fantasy football purposes, when creating bet slips, as well as DFS lineups. It's your one-stop shop for NFL scouting services. There's a link in the description for OurLads.com as well as the social media. Do me a favor again, hit that like and subscribe button. But enough of that. Let's get to your favorite NFL football preview. All right, I can tell already that this is going to get a little heated, I think. I'm going to take some heat for this. I know I'm going to take some heat for this, and I'm okay with that. And maybe I'm going to need somebody to explain to me like I'm a child why the Jaguars are going to be terrible. Jags. Why are they going to be terrible this year? Someone's going to have to explain to me like I'm a child. So let's go through it. Quarterback, Gardner Minshew. I can make a case for you right now that he's the offensive player of the year, the offensive rookie of the year, over Kyler Murray. I can make you that argument. He won more games, threw more touchdown passes. He ran for 200 less yards, but didn't have any touchdowns. That's the problem. If he had 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns, he's the rookie of the year. How do you argue with me? He's the rookie of the year. He had less games, so he didn't throw as many yards. He had more touchdown passes, ran for a bunch of yards. If he plays those 2 games, he's the offensive rookie of the year. Fact. It's a fact. So he's the offensive rookie of the year if he plays those extra 2 games, in my opinion. They obviously believe in him. They're going to give him a shot, obviously, which they most certainly should. The team improved. So we'll start. There it is. There's your quarterback, Gardner Minshew. Running back, there's a lot of talk about Leonard Fournette getting traded and wanting out. We'll see. I think that relationship can be mended, and he might stick around. They brought in Chris Thompson, obviously, from Washington. Jay Gruden comes over as the offensive coordinator. They bring along Chris Thompson, sign Tyler Eifert as well. The running back situation is not in a great spot, that's for sure. If there was an injury to Fournette, they're not looking good. There's really no real backup unless one of these guys no one's heard of becomes something more than they were drafted as, because Chris Thompson's not running the ball, but he's a very good pass catcher. Either way, I don't expect them to run the ball a ton. With Jay Gruden, I don't expect them to run the ball a lot. I really don't. I think Fournette gets less carries if he's on the team this year, which I do expect him to be. Then he gets less carries, but they're going to be a bit of a run and gun team. They are. That's Jay Gruden, and running back stats with Gruden are not fantastic. They're just not. So I avoid Leonard Fournette in fantasy. If you want an opinion there, I most certainly avoid him. I definitely look at Chris Thompson in a PPR league, but it's pretty much only a matter of time till he gets hurt. He's getting older and he's injury prone. He's probably going to get hurt this year. So, at your own risk. Tight end situation, obviously they bring in Tyler Eifert from the Bengals, former Jay Gruden. He was the offensive coordinator in Cincinnati. I really like Josh Oliver. I really like what he can do. I think he can be a solid tight end in this league. James O'Shaughnessy was okay last year as well. Offensive line, Jawan Taylor, last year's first-round pick. Cam Robinson, okay tackles. They're okay up the middle. Brandon Lindor, AJ Cann, Andrew Norwell. Nothing wrong with those guys. Their offensive line is capable. They're middle of the pack. 42 sacks last year. They're kind of a middle of the pack, but they should be better. You'd think that they've improved. They should be a little bit better. Even if they stay where they're at, it's not the end of the world. And then wide receivers, D.D. Westbrook, fantastic, big. I think he's 6'3", 6'4", big, quick, shifty slot receiver. You got DJ Chark, who was phenomenal in his rookie year, and I think takes another step forward. He's going to look good. He's going to get tons of targets. People hate on Chris Conley for some reason. He had a career season last year. He had a career season, and he's 28 years old. Had 775, I think, yards, 5 touchdowns, career season. Why? 6'3", 200 pounds. The hate for the Jags just doesn't make sense to me. They draft Laviska Shenault in, I think it was the 2nd round, I believe. So they got 4 capable pass catchers there, very capable. Colin Johnson, they drafted him as well. He's 6'6", big guy. They still got Keelan Cole, who led the team in yards a couple years ago. What's wrong with this team? What's wrong with this team? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think they got a lot to like. I think there's a lot to like on this team. There's a lot to like on this offense. There's a lot to like with this potential, in my opinion. People now you want to talk about the defense? Let's talk about the defense. You want to hate on the defense? Let's talk about the defense. They got last year they were top 10 in sacks, 47 sacks last year. And that was with Ngakoue not having the most fantastic year. He only had 8 sacks. He doesn't want to be there, clearly. He really doesn't want to be there. They signed him to a franchise tag. I'm not sure if they can extend him to a long term and he buys in. I mean, if Ngakoue buys into this team and buys in and plays, at least just plays, this team's going to be better. But in all honesty, I'm acting like he's not on the team because he doesn't want to be there, and sounds like they're going to trade him. There's a huge blow up on Twitter between him and the owner's son, which wasn't good. It wasn't a good situation, and it's going to be tough to come back from that. So I expect him to be gone. But even if he is gone, in the draft, let's start with what they did in the draft. Davon Hamilton, great pick. Kayvon Chason, great pick. Shaq Quarterman, great pick. CJ Henderson, great pick. And then before that, in free agency, they go and get Joe Schobert, Rodney Gunter, Al Woods, Rashawn Melvin, Aaron Lynch, Cassius Marsh. Explain to me like I'm an infant how this is a bad team. Explain to me like I'm a child, because I don't understand. I don't understand it. Look at that defense. Miles Jack, Joe Schobert, Shaq Quarterman, Kayvon Chason. Tell me that's not one of the better linebacking cores in the league? You gonna tell me that? I dare you. Their front line, Tavon Bryan, improving, but they also got Rodney Gunter there. Josh Allen had 10.5 sacks as a rookie. You know how hard that is to do as a rookie to have 10 plus sacks? Extremely. As a rookie. Al Woods, these guys are backups. Rodney Gunter, Dwayne Smoot had six sacks last year. You tell me if Ngakwe's gone and Dwayne Smoot, who's just fine as a pass rusher, gets more reps, he's not going to get the 2 more sacks to make up for Ngakoue? Cassius Marsh, he can get after the quarterback. Ain't nothing wrong there. Linebackers are great. Safeties are good. Ronnie Harrison, Jared Wilson, nothing wrong with those 2 guys. My big issue is the corners. But I mean, if you're getting after the quarterback and you play a lot of zone, that's okay. You can make up for that. It's okay. You can, as long as they're capable, you know. And CJ Henderson, I think, will be good. DJ Hayden, I think he'll be okay. Former first-round pick, I believe. Rashawn Melvin, not the greatest, but I mean, if they could play some team defense, I mean, man, this is a good team. This is a good team. I don't understand. I really don't understand all the hate for the Jags. I really don't. Someone's going to have to explain it to me like I'm a child. Because looking at this roster, I think there's a lot to like. There's a lot to like on this roster, in my opinion. So, yeah, let's take a look. I'm getting heated. I'm getting riled up here because it's a little ridiculous, all this hate. I don't understand. I don't understand it. I really don't. So, leave something in the comments. Explain to me like I'm a child why the Jaguars are terrible. Well, let's take a look at my record prediction for them and their schedule heading into 2020. All right, here's the schedule. Here's my prediction. Low, high, my. I'm going to take some heat. Bring it. Bring it on. Leave something in the comments. Tell me why they're a bad team. They were 10-6 last year. 6-10. They were 6-10 last year. You tell me they're not improved? You tell me they're not a better team? 7-9 is out of this world, out of the question. I think I'm being generous. I think I'm going against my how I really feel with 8-8. I think they could be 10-6, 9-7, something like that. You know, if Ngakoue stays, especially, man, they're a good team. I think they have a legitimate shot. I'll say right now, I think they finish higher than the Texans. Hold it against me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. If you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Most, in all honesty, don't want to brag, but I'm right a lot more than I'm wrong. I'll say that right now. But if I'm wrong, let me know. Let me hear it. I think the Jags are a decent team. I think they're getting hated on. I'm not really sure why. Especially when they're not having to go to London 4 or 5 times a friggin' year, or however often they go to London every single year. They're going to stay in Jacksonville. It's a better team. It's a better team. They're going to make some noise. They're going to surprise some teams. I really truly think they're going to surprise some teams and some people that are hating on them for no good reason. Doesn't make sense to me. Explain to me why they're so bad in the comments. Like I'm a child, because I don't get it. Week 1, they play Indianapolis at home. And don't get me wrong either, because in every single one of these that I've made, and every single preview for every single team, I say you have to beat a team like the Jags, because you do. You do. They're 6-10. You have to beat these teams. It's just not going to be that easy, in my opinion. But you have to beat them. Just like the Bengals. I picked them to be a similar team, record-wise. But you have to beat them. It's just not going to be as easy as a lot of people seem to think it's going to be. People are saying, like people that make other predictions, they just chalk up a win from the Jags. I just don't think it's going to be that easy. That's my opinion. Indianapolis Colts week 1, that's a winnable game in Jacksonville. Did I pick the Colts to win? I think I probably did, but man, it's not going to be that easy. It's really not. At Tennessee, and that's the other thing. They start the season with 2 divisional games. If they can somehow rattle off those 2 wins, they're in a good spot. They're in a real good spot. If they can rattle off 2 wins, even 1-1, if they can get those 2 wins, they're in a real good spot, because then they play Miami and Cincinnati. They somehow, if the Jags started 4-0, I'm going to look like a serious genius, I'll tell you that much, but I don't think they start 4-0. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying they start 4-0, but it's not impossible. It's really not. It's really not impossible. The toughest game there for me is the Colts. I think that they can beat the Titans. I think they can beat the Titans in Nashville. I'm not a huge believer in the Titans this year. I'm really not. And yes, Derrick Henry can run the ball like an animal, and he's massive, but they got Schobert, Miles Jack, Quarterman, Caleb Chase. They got all these guys that can help stop the run. Just saying, man. And then Miami at home, they need to get that win. That's a game, another game with every team, every single team that I make these about. You have to beat these teams. You have to beat the Dolphins. You have to beat the Bengals. You have to beat the Jags. You have to beat these teams. So if they can somehow rattle off, even if they start 2-2 or 3-1 or something like that in the first quarter of their season, they're looking good, man. They're looking real good. Real good. At the Texans, I literally just said they finish higher than the Texans, so there we go. I think that's a winnable game in Houston. At home against the Lions, that's a winnable game right there. Ain't nothing wrong with in Jacksonville. Like I said, they're staying in Jacksonville. With the pandemic that's going on, they are not going to London. That's going to make a big difference to me. I don't know how it wouldn't to anyone. I always say west to east. Those are tough games. They're going friggin' extreme west to extreme east. They're going to another. It's bye week 7. Week 7 bye week. For this team, that's a great place to have your bye week. I give them a shot to win all of those 6 games. All of them. I give them a shot. I'm not saying I'm not going to sit here and say they go 6-0. There's no chance I'm going to say that. But it's not impossible. And if they're sitting there at even 4-2, they are looking real good coming out of that bye. At LA, the Chargers don't, there's a lot of question marks there. They got a very good defense. But like I've been saying, the Jags are going to run and gun. They're going to throw the ball a lot. And are the Chargers going to be able to keep up with Tyrod Taylor? Even Justin Herbert? I don't know. At home against Houston, very winnable game. I literally just said a bunch about the Texans. Winnable game. At Green Bay, that's to me, sitting here right now, to me, The toughest game for the Jags comes in week 10 against the Green Bay Packers on the road. Green Bay in November, they play obviously in Florida. That's an extremely tough game, and I do not give them much of a chance to win that game. I really don't for the Jags. That is the toughest game on their schedule to date. Explain to me like I'm a child. At home against Pittsburgh, very winnable game, especially if Ben Roethlisberger is not what I don't expect Ben Roethlisberger to bounce back the way a lot of people just think he's magically going to bounce back from what seems like a Tommy John surgery at 38 years old. I don't see it personally. And that's a winnable game to me. Very winnable game to me. The Steelers secondary is the weaker part of their defense. They have a fantastic defense, don't get me wrong, but it's a weaker part, especially with 4 guys. If they're running like 4 wide receiver sets, it's going to be tough to keep up. I really think so. I really do. Gardner Minshew threw for the most passing yards, I believe, I could be wrong, threw for the most passing yards of senior season at Washington State. Run and gun offense. And to me, that's what you do. That's what you do for the Jags. You win games 35-28. Try to, At home against Cleveland. That's a tough game. That's a very tough game. It's possible. Like, it's not, it's a winnable game. Do I expect them to win? Not particularly. Even against Pittsburgh, it's winnable, but do I predict, like, maybe not. I expect them to, but we'll see. At Minnesota, that's a winnable game against a bunch of rookie corners. A bunch of rookie corners trying to keep up with all these guys, and they're running and gunning. I give them a real good shot. Indoors, I give them a real good shot to win that game. At home against Tennessee, you see where I'm going with this. At Baltimore, they're not winning that game. Chicago, that's a tough game. I think they can. That's definitely winnable. At Indianapolis, that's tough. This schedule is not like. It's not scary. It's not extremely scary, especially early on in the season. It's not extremely like, oh God, we're going to be 0-16 over here. And look at their roster. And tell me they're not an improved team from a 6-10 team. It's just crazy. It's crazy. So there you go. 17-1. 17-1. I think that this is a very tight division. I really do. It's 17-1 for the Jags. Like I said, I will say in all of these AFC South previews, and I will say right now, I think it's a decent possibility that the winner of this division is 9-7. 10-6, I think gets it done. 11-5, 100% gets it done, in my opinion. I got 10-6 on the high side. I don't think that's impossible at all. And if 9-7 can get it done, that's good odds. I'm not over here saying I'm going to bet on it. I'm not over here saying I'm going to bet on the Jags to win this division, but it's not crazy. It's really not crazy. And people are going to think I'm crazy. So go ahead in the comments, leave a comment. Let me know. Explain to me like I'm an infant how the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be a terrible team this year and be in the running for first overall. I'm going to need you to do that because it doesn't make sense to me. It just does not make sense to me. Getting a little heated about this, but it's crazy the amount of hate that's coming on the Jags. I don't get it. I really don't. So there's your preview for the 2020 Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me know in the comments, and we'll see who's right at the end of the season. So there you go.